Welcome again, my Cherryful chariots. It's been a while. And by a while, I mean by a few days. But if we are going to go based on the other franchise that I talk about in this channel, it's been 4 weeks. I wanted to do this video for a while, but I wanted to wait and see whether or not my opinions on said thing would change after a while. So, I decided to wait for a few weeks. And now is when I choose to make the video. Granted, this video will be coming out in tandem with another video that will be more Castlevania related. So, if you probably see this, that means that there's another video about Castlevania waiting for you on my channel. So if you're more interested in that, you can go check that out. But if you're here for the Mario Kart content, then I suggest you stay. Wave 5 of the Booster Course Pass came out a lot sooner than I had anticipated, considering I really didn't believe that we would be getting a July release, considering that Wave 2 released in August. I was a little skeptical about it releasing earlier than usual, but considering that Wave 4 released earlier in March compared to its Wave 1 counterpart, things were looking forward to an early July release. And considering that I couldn't wait to get my hands on Wave 5, I was ecstatic to hear any news about Wave 5 coming early. Then came the usual Summer Nintendo Direct, which showcased one of the new courses that will be coming to Wave 5, Squeaky Clean Sprint, as well as 3 new characters that will be coming with the Booster Course Pass. Now, I was excited, and I couldn't wait to hear a release date. There wasn't a release date on the trailer. So, as many of us have waited, for me it was a very long wait, but when Wave 5 finally released on July 12th of this year, I was saddened. Now, this hasn't been the first wave where I've been hurt by the courses that they chose to represent certain retros in this wave. It's just that this one hurt a lot more, you know? And upon some of my immediate thoughts about it releasing, I thought to myself, you know what? I can't wait to make a ranking video out of this. That was literally a day after I played all the courses, but I chose to hold off on my opinions, as I wanted to see whether or not they would change over time. Cause you see, here in Cherryful Incorporated, we like to value our opinions, and we don't want to make constant videos about our opinions changing. So, instead of just making 5 videos a month showcasing how opinions change, we decided to wait an extra long time just to see as to whether or not our opinions remained constant. And clearly you're watching it, so that means I've come to the rightful conclusion. Now, if you haven't seen my other Ranking the Wave videos, I highly recommend you do. Granted, they're not of the same audio quality that I currently have now, however, I think entertainment-wise you'll find some kicks out of it, and, like most of my videos, these are based on my experiences and my opinions of the courses. So, if you have your own thoughts about the courses, you can happily leave them in the comment section while also being an adult. I mean, I know this is the internet, you people can concoct worse things to say, but it's all that I ask you to do. So now, let's get into the video of Cereza Valentine, ranking the Wave 5 courses of the Booster Course Pass. Wow, by golly, who would have expected this course to be in last? For those who have been living under a rock and haven't been watching every single Mario Kart YouTuber express their opinions about this course specifically, or just their broad opinions about Wave 5 in general, you will notice that Sunset Wilds has always, and wherever will be, the bottom of the barrel when it comes to Wave 5. Now, if you're wondering, why is it so bad, you may ask? Great and fantastic question, I can't wait to answer it for you. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Sunset Wilds is a course that originated from Mario Kart Super Circuit, and it has the unique feature of having the sun set during each of the 3 laps, meaning that you start at a sunset and end at nighttime. Now, in my personal opinion, it wasn't the most fantastic thing in the world, but I will give credit where it's due and say that for a track of its caliber and for how it was at the time, we didn't see any courses that did this transitional thing at the time. So, if you were to ask people what courses they liked from Super Circuit, Sunset Wilds would usually come up in their lists, as it was one of the more unique looking ones that came from that game. When it got back into Tour, it kept the same mechanic, albeit a little different, to more so suit Tour's 2-lap system. Now, when it was showcased in the trailer for Wave 5, we only saw a sneak peek of it, and we only saw the sunset portion, which got everyone a little worried that the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe version was not going to have the sunsetting, which was the main gimmick of the original. Now, fears of this were not as bad because the wave hadn't come out yet. But when it did, you had reactions like these.
Which I think is interesting. So this should turn to like mid-time night or something. It's not. Unless if they're only making it so second and first lap are the same thing. And then nighttime happens on third lap. I don't know, guys. This is already kind of scaring me a little bit that it's not showing up. This lap. Is it? No, it's... Is it really not? Guys. Wait, is it? Guys. Bro, what? Nah, this is stupid. I'm sorry. I can't really give Sunset Wilds justice now. I mean, they had to remove that. Why do they seem to, like, just love removing stuff that made these tracks so much fun and interesting? Like, Koopa Cape, remove those little lightning, like, things. You guys know what I'm talking about. It makes you shrink in the tunnel. And then, now they just remove the sunset from Sunset Wilds, the biggest thing that's known about this track. Like, at least the lightning thing for Koopa Cape isn't, like, you know, the big part about the track. But you're telling me they couldn't program the big mechanic that was known for Sunset Wilds in the first place? Like, I'm sorry. This is stupid. This is a dumb track.
Set. Because in the previews, we haven't seen it doing that. And I don't have complete faith in the Booster Course Pass team to do that. The sun doesn't set? Dude. How did they miss this? Okay, this is actually that's kind of bad, dude. They botched this. I think they kind of botched this one, dude.
Oh no, there's no sunset. What the heck? Oh, what the heck? The sunset was like the big gimmick of this track, and they completely took it out. Oh, that's so stupid. I'm sorry. No, this is the worst track of this wave, sorry. Unfortunately, the somewhat good visuals don't help its case because, first off, the layout was already massacred from in Tour. And then they removed the aspect that made it even remotely enjoyable. That's actually sad.
Now you must be wondering, what was my reaction? I fucking hated it! There is no green that is greener, as is my malice towards this course. That may not make sense, but just understand that I hate this course with every bone in my body. Not only did Nintendo choose to go with a course that could have been literally any GBA course that they could have picked from Mario Kart Tour, because they had freaking aplenty, they decided to choose the one GBA course that had a special gimmick to it, and not only remove that gimmick, but to make it one of the more blander GBA tracks layout-wise. Now, sure, there's 2 hill bumps at the end, but guess what? That's the only change in elevation that I see in any part of the track. The road is unnecessarily slippery for the most part, as in areas where it shouldn't be slippery, it's just oddly weird to drive on. The Shy Guys are nice, but I do miss the old Spear Guys that were in the original. Now, I can understand why they removed them in this version, but come on, can't we just have both? The music is fine. I never liked Sunset Wilds music all too much. I'm just glad that they made it a little more catchier, just like what they did for Riverside Park. The surrounding area of the course looks very nice. There's like small details hidden around, like tents and campfires that are lit. It's just that my main problem is that A, you've removed the fact that the sun sets, and B, this track is boring. There's nothing of substance here. Now, I've heard the reason as to why the sun doesn't set in the Mario Kart 8 version is because of lighting difficulties and how Mario Kart 8's engine with lighting is complex and how it would require extra work to make it work. Now, this argument makes sense, don't get me wrong, But like the problem is that it also doesn't make sense whatsoever. Because days after Wave 5 came out, we've had a modder literally change it from sunset to night. Albeit it didn't look great, but he was able to do it within either the span of a few hours or in the span of a few days. And if you're telling me that Nintendo can't even do that within either the span of like a year or two, or within like a few months from Wave 4 to 5, you are full of it. Also, if this lighting was going to be a serious issue for the devs, wouldn't you think that they would have just picked a different GBA course instead of Sunset Wilds, like, oh, I don't know, Yoshi Desert or Cheap Cheap Island? Those two would have been very much contemptible in Wave 5. Hell, I argue that the best GBA course to fit this spot would be Yoshi Desert, because we haven't had a desert course like Dry Dry Desert in the entire Booster Course Pass. It's better than having a frickin' Calamari Desert knockoff. Honestly, this course astounds me just for the fact that it's even here. I don't hate it for like the same reason as to why I hate DS Mario Circuit. It's more like personal to me. But like, it's so abysmal as to like why Nintendo just chose to do Sunset Wilds. It's like, they were so stubborn to like get this course into the game that they really did not think about how the reception of this course was gonna be when it launched. Either way, it's the worst of Wave 5, literally bottom of the barrel. Moving on. Oh my god, I knew this track was going to look awful. At number 7 of this list, we have Koopa Cape. Who would have thought that the course that looked terrible in Tour was gonna look terrible in 8 Deluxe? Who would have thought? It's not like I called this out once before and then everyone just kept insisting that they wanted Koopa Cape in because, you know, it's Koopa Cape. No, totally not.
Foreshadowing as a narrative device.
Alright, let's get to my main points of this course. Mainly, I think the graphics of this course, as well as the lighting, look very awful. The only time when this course actually looks nice is when you're in the underwater section. That is about it. Like, why go through such effort of making the water look nice, but then just make the rocks look completely awful? Also, another thing I've noticed is that everything that had a Koopa on it in the original is now no longer present. Like, now instead of just Koopa Cape, it's just Cape. What the hell, Nintendo? Oh, and on top of that, some of the ramps on this course do not fit the course at all, and for some reason they decided to remove the glider section that was in 7. Why? And another thing about this course is that for some reason, it feels oddly short. Like, I don't know what they did with this version of the course, but like, passing through the canyon section just happens in a flash. Also, some part of me finds it very hilarious how we had one Wii course that uses grey rocks, but now we have another Wii course that uses yellow rocks. Can you tell which one looks nicer? Originally, I didn't really appreciate Koopa Cape all that much. It wasn't until that I started to re-listen to its music over and over that I truly found like an appreciation for the original. And in this case, the music really doesn't disappoint. I kinda do like it. Granted, it kinda sounds a little weird, but once again, the water section saves it. So, it's not completely terrible, unlike a certain Sunset, but it's still bottom of the barrel. Also, this whole texture problem would have been completely avoided if a certain desert course got in instead of, you know, this. But oh well, I'm just dreaming, it seems. I'm not one of those people who misses, like, the old zappers that were in the Wii version. However, considering that this course does feel short, I do kind of miss them, as if they were there, they would have made the course a little longer and a little more challenging. But oh well, I have no issue with the water section at all. It just feels short. But yeah, if I were to tell Nintendo to fix anything about this course, it'd be the following. Fix the texture of the rocks, change them to grey, and it would all be fine. Change the lighting inside the frickin' cave section, because oh my god, it looks horrendous. And C, change the textures of the grass. For the love of God, we've been over this. And lastly, please add all the Koopa Troopa paraphernalia back. That is literally what gave Koopa Cape its identity, and you practically just took it away. So yeah, please just add it back. Anyway, we shall move on. yeah, I've never really been a fan of Daisy Cruiser. Look, we can come to an agreement that Daisy Cruiser, when it comes to its theming, is a good course. It's just that, for me, I'm not really too much into it. Granted though, I do think that the Goombas on the floaties are a little cute. Bah, I can't get sidetracked. So, what makes me put Daisy Cruiser this low on the list? Well, allow me to give you my humble opinion as to why. For one, the music. Although it's not the worst music I've heard in the Mario Kart series, believe me, there are plenty worse. It's just that I'm not really into the summerish vibe that this gives me, you know? And believe me, I'm not a Peach Beach stan or anything. I hate that course a little more than I do this one. The layout complements the course, it's just that I'm not really into it. Hell, I'm still debating whether or not the GCN version of this course was better compared to the Mario Kart 7 version. Cause frankly, I like both concepts that they went for, having a storage room in the bottom of the ship, but then also having an aquarium underneath the ship. Which is a real safety hazard, Daisy. But personally, I'm just not a fan of Double Dash courses. I'm sorry, I'm just not. But if you like it, that's great. Good for you. I'm just not into it all that much. And personally, I would have wanted another Double Dash course to take its spot, but that's more me being preferential, if anything. I wouldn't replace it because it's bad, I would replace it because I would want another course. But oh well. Moving on to the next course. Oh my god, one of my friends is gonna kill me for putting Squeaky Clean Sprint near the middle of the list. So yeah, number 5 on this list is none other than the bathroom Squeaky Clean Sprint, which, I'll be fair and say that was a lot better than I originally thought that this bathroom course was gonna be. Now, let's go over some of the positives, shall we? Now, out of all the courses that we've gotten out of this entire booster course pass, I will make an argument that Squeaky Clean Sprint is by far the closest looking base game course out of the lot that we have. Considering that it reminds me a lot of Ribbon Road, but in a positive way, you know? Because I always admired that Ribbon Road was able to be like this whole Toy Story scenario. So to see that idea happen again, but in a bathroom, is just so interesting to me. Because like, before like we even saw Squeaky Clean Sprint, we didn't know what to expect, because all we knew at that point was that we were getting a bathroom course, and we didn't know how it looked, we didn't know how it was going to play, none of that. And then when we finally got our hands on it, it was stellar. The music was a lot better than I expected, considering that it's whimsical, it's nice, and it pairs very well with the course that you're driving on. And the fact that there's so many stuff to look at is just something that I always admire in courses, because I always love it when courses have like so much stuff in them that it takes you repeated like go-arounds to like look at everything and appreciate the amount of references that are hidden within the courses. Like that to me, it's just magnificent. But the reason why it's only at number 5 is because, well, thematically, although I said that it was nice, I just didn't want a bathroom course. Because I kind of hoped that this would have been like a cooler Nitro track idea. Like, don't get me wrong, for a Nitro track, it's good, but like, come on, it's a bathroom. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate the course at all. In fact, any course above like Daisy Cruiser or even Daisy Cruiser itself is okay or decent at least. Like Daisy Cruiser, if you so happen to like Squeaky Clean Sprint, I can absolutely understand why you do. Don't get me wrong, there are things in this course that I genuinely do like. It's just that overall, there are just better courses that speak to me more than this. But now that we are done with number 5, we can move on to number 4. I'll be completely honest with you, slots 4 and 3 could be switched with each other and my opinion of them would be the same. Vancouver Velocity, a course that I was actually looking forward to, but I was kind of expecting it to be in Wave 6, But since it's in Wave 5, I'm kinda glad that I got to play it earlier than I initially thought. What can I say that's already been said? Vancouver Velocity looks amazing in 8 Deluxe. The bridge section, the drive across the town, the ice skate arena, all of it looks amazing. Granted, some areas look better than others, but oh well, it's a tour course, what can we expect? We can't have everything. But the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights, all the lights, the trees, all the scenery, the buildings, all of it just comes together so well. And the music is just as amazing as it was in Mario Kart Tour. Granted, I don't know which one I prefer. It's like the Berlin Byway situation where I prefer both versions, but I don't have any specific lean towards either one. Granted, it feels a little weird that doing one of the variations of Vancouver Velocity without the cannon that sends you out of the arena is missing, but oh well. It was the same cannon that was in Singapore, so I don't really care for it all too much. I just find it a little weird considering how much I'm more accustomed to the Tour version than I am the 8 version. Oh, and the fact that the falling leaves effect is no longer present during the beginning of the second lap, during the area with the orange trees. It's a little nitpick, and it's not anything too vital, but I just find it a little weird that they chose not to add that effect. Granted though, I do wish there was at least a little bit of variety in how the second and third lap end, because they kind of end in the same way, it's just that the third lap ends with a longer route towards the finish line. It would have been nice if there was like an alternative route during the third lap that didn't have to go through the same area as the second, but oh well. Just like a slight preferential thing, really. I don't have a problem with it, I just think it's a little repetitive, if you catch my drift. However, the other course managed to outbeat it, but only by a little. Let's move on to that course, shall we? Now, the course that managed to beat Vancouver Velocity was none other than Los Angeles Laps. Now, let's get this out of the way. I am not a fan of Los Angeles Laps' final lap. I just think it's far too much of a drastic turn from the rest of the course. Granted, there's nothing inherently wrong about it, it's just that I just don't like it all too much. Especially driving there on 150 or 200. It's kind of a mess. Also, for some reason, the quality of some of the buildings on this map are a little laughable, to say the least. But by god damn, if this one course made up for something, it was the fact that the Ferris wheel finally moves, and the fact that the music is so freaking good. It's one of those tour tracks that I prefer this version over the original, even though the original was already good in my opinion. I think driving on the beach was a great idea, I think it's scenic. Granted, I don't know how I feel about changing it from sunset to day, but I think this map looks good regardless. I do wonder though how it would have looked if it kept the sunset though. But oh well, I guess we'll have to see another freaking alternate universe when Nintendo decided to keep it to sunset. As far as lap 2 is concerned, I think it's just as good as lap 1. I find myself engaged in the whole Beverly Hills section. Granted, that's also where you can see some of the building quality being a little laughable, but it's a pass, really. We all know that these tour city tracks aren't the best in quality, especially considering most of its GBA and Nitro counterparts. It's really nothing to really get too hasty about. But my god, this track has one of the best tour city music tracks I have ever heard. It's not beating Berlin Byways, not by a long shot, but it is by far my second favorite best city course theme in the entire game thus far. Damn, I'm starting to really think that this wave had some really good city courses this time around. I wonder what the next one is gonna be. I'm gonna tell you something. I was not expecting to like Athens Dash all too much, but I was amazed. Considering that I saw its original preview on tour, I thought it was okay, but I didn't expect anything much out of it. But then it came to Mario Kart 8, and let me tell you this, It blew my mind how good this course looked. Granted, let's ignore some of the houses in the background, but let's focus on the main center stage, which being all the ruins and all the temples that are on the course that you get to see most of the time. And look at that, the rocks aren't yellow, Nintendo. It's almost as if the rocks only look awful on other tracks because they're fucking ugly yellow. Anyway, I like the fact that this course try to goes for a verticality approach instead of a more horizontal one, as it kind of feels like I'm going up and down for most of the course, and honestly, I'm a genuine fan of it. Now, I know everyone had their initial doubts about Athens Dash, considering it wasn't a conventional city course, like it didn't focus on Athens, the city itself, more so just one specific monument in Athens, but to me I think it's to its benefit, as it helps it stand out more as an individual city course rather than just blending in with all the other city courses that we've seen thus far. And considering that it's from, once again, Europe, it helps distinguish itself even more, considering that most of the city courses that we have in this game are from Europe. Oh, and the music is just as good as the course itself. It genuinely feels like I'm on an adventure, or if I'm gonna become a Greek freaking god by the end of this. The layout for this course is strangely fun, as it's so enjoyable to drive through. Once again, it could be due to the fact that this course try to goes for more of a verticality approach rather than a horizontal one, but I'm unsure. Maybe I'll hear your opinions on it. So yeah, without much doubt, I can clearly say that Athens Dash is by far the best city course of this wave. But it's not the best course of this wave though. So we have to ask ourselves, what is it? What course could be the best of Wave 5? The antithesis of what makes Wave 5 what it is, what it should be, what it strives to be. Well... Like most of us, I did not expect Moonview Highway to come into Wave 5 at all. But I am so glad that it did. The beautiful nighttime aesthetic, the beautiful surrounding city, the beautiful bridge section, all the chaotic traffic in the world, and that banging and popping music that accompanies the entire track is part of what makes Moonview Highway the perfect course of Wave 5. Now, there is more about Moonview Highway that I think needs to be discussed. For example, the boost panels, as they're not just stuck into one specific location each race. Instead, between races, they switch positions into different positions, so it's not always the same. It's like how Excite Bike Arena, the stage itself changes, but the layout just doesn't. It's like that, but on a minor scale. We once again have the infamous bomb cars in Mario Kart. Let's freaking go! If Shroom Ridge had a younger, more pop sister, Moonview Highway would be that sister. Now, a common criticism that I have heard about Moonview Highway is that the traffic feels reduced. And to me, I don't see it as a problem, I just see it as a change. Considering that I still believe that the traffic still causes as much chaos and problems as it would in the original. Why? Because of convenience. That is why. And Mario Kart 8 still ramps up the bullshit even though there's less cars on the road. And I think I know why. Because you see, Mario Kart Wii didn't have to account for 200cc. Mario Kart 8 does. So let's put things into perspective. If Mario Kart 8 were to have the same levels of traffic that Mario Kart Wii once had, and if we were to drive it on 200, driving on it would be figuratively almost impossible, considering how many vehicles you're going to be hitting within the span of a few seconds. So yeah, although I didn't expect to see Moonview Highway in the past at all, it was a welcome surprise, and I am so glad that Nintendo chose to surprise us with Moonview Highway, as it has become one of my favorite courses in the entire Booster Course Pass. It's not beating DK Summit though, but it's up there. It's 1000% better than the treatment that Koopa Cape got, that's for damn certain. But those are my rankings of the Wave 5 courses from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. What were your rankings on each of these courses? How well do my opinions fare with your own? Leave comments down below as to what you believe is your ranking, and I will happily be gladly to read them. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and put on notifications, as do recall that it does help this channel grow and reach a broader audience, so you can meet more like-minded individuals like yourself. Now remember, I am Sir Valentine, and remain cherryful.